Today we discuss about the formation of steam and steam properties. Before going to steam formation and steam properties, we will discuss what is pure substance. A substance that has a fixed chemical composition throughout is called a pure substance. Basically the pure substance is a substance which is having a homogeneous chemical composition throughout. When we take out some examples like water, nitrogen, helium and carbon dioxide are all pure substances because their chemical composition is homogeneous or same throughout the volume. A pure substance does not have to be a single chemical element or compound. However, a mixture of various chemical elements or compounds also qualifies as a pure substance as long as mixture is homogeneous. See, when we consider the example of water, water is a pure substance, but it is a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. H2O is chemical formula, but it's a pure substance because its mixture is homogeneous throughout the volume. So, pure substance whatsoever is there, but it must be a homogeneous. This is the basic need for a substance to be a pure substance. A mixture of two or more phases of a pure substance is still a pure substance as long as the chemical composition of all phases is the same. So, whatsoever that when we mix two or more phases, but those phases if have the chemical composition same, then they are still comes in the category of pure substance. Here we see that in the figure you can see that if there is a liquid and vapor is there, but they are pure substance because their composition or their chemical uniformity is there, so they are still pure substance. A mixture of ice and liquid water, for example, is a pure substance because both phases have same chemical composition. Whatsoever the chemical composition, it may be ice or it may be water, but their chemical composition remains same, so their mixture is termed as a pure substance. A mixture of liquid air and gaseous air, however, is not a pure substance because the composition of liquid air is different from the composition of gaseous air. This is a very important point that when we mix air, liquid and gas air, it is not a pure substance. But when we mix water in a solid form and liquid form, it is a pure substance. So you have to understand very clearly that the liquid air and gaseous air is not a pure substance because in a mixture, because of air is a mixture of various gases and they have different densities, so the chemical composition may differ. So that's why when we mix liquid air and gaseous air, they are not termed as a pure substance because they have the different densities and they are condensing at different temperature at a specified pressure. So when we talk about three phases, namely solid, liquid and gases, we all know that they have different arrangements of atoms. In solid they are closely packed, molecules are in a relatively fixed position in a solid, whereas in liquid they are not so much of closely packed, but they have some weak bonding is there, but they are still closely packed as compared to gases. In gases, these molecules are free to move and they move randomly. So these are the three pictures. This depicts the solid, liquid and gaseous phases. So we all know, as we all know that the solid, liquid and gaseous phase differs in the packing of atoms. In solid they are densely packed and in liquid they are not so much densely packed, but whereas in gases they are free to move randomly. So when we convert the steam from water, so we have to break the bonds between the water and the molecules will stay apart, H2O molecules will stay apart. And so when we start from, suppose we start from ice, so ice first we have to convert it into water and water into steam. So let's consider state by state. So when we consider state 1, suppose there is a pressure of 1 atmosphere, this is atmospheric pressure which is exerting, and temperature is 20 degrees centigrade, water is there, but there is no change in the volume. When we again move to pressure is still 1 atmosphere, temperature increases, but the volume will not significantly change because there is no change in the atomic arrangement. It will change some little bit, but not as significant, not in a significant manner. But when we come into state 3, the steam formation will start, and some part of water is converted into steam. And when the steam is converted, it acquires some volume. So you can see that the piston maintaining the pressure will rise slightly, so to accommodate the pressure in the to accommodate or to maintain the constant pressure in the flask. So you can see that still pressure is 1 atmosphere and temperature is 100 degree. And here on the upper side there is a saturated vapor, and on the lower side there is a saturated liquid. Both are at the same temperature. Even the steam that formed, it also on 100 degrees centigrade, and the saturated liquid which is also on 100 degrees centigrade. So both the steam and water having the same temperature, although their phases are different. But then when we come to state 4, you can see that the whole of the water is converted into the steam. There is no saturated liquid remains, the whole is converted into saturated vapor. So we can see that the pressure is same, 1 atmosphere, and the temperature is also same at 100 degrees centigrade, but the liquid converts into the vapor. When we further heating, it will rise the temperature and it comes to be 300 degrees centigrade, and it will increase the volume to accommodate the pressure changes. Here when the steam formation taking place, you can see in state 3, when the water is 100 degree, it's transforming into vapor or steam. The continuous heat is given, but there is no rise in temperature because the latent heat will come into the picture, and the latent heat, it is absorbed, and that latent heat converts water into steam. So whenever there is a change of phase, latent heat will come in picture. So when water changes to a steam, that is from liquid phase to vapor phase, a latent heat phenomena comes into the play. So at a state 4, this whole water is absorbed latent heat and it is converted fully into steam. But here it is a superheating of steam. There is no latent heat. There is a superheating of steam is there. The heat will be gained by the steam. So for bed steam, we can calculate the total heat, or the enthalpy of the bed steam is given by HF plus XFG. HF is the sensible heat and HFG is the latent heat of vaporization of water, which can be assumed to be 2257 kilojoule per kg at 1 atmospheric pressure, and X is the dryness fraction. As all we know, dryness fraction is the quantity of the steam in the quantity of pure and dry steam in the total steam. Suppose moisture is there, then suppose for example in a steam the 80% is steam and 20% is the moisture droplets, then its dryness fraction is 0.8. For dry steam, it's simple because it is pure, so the dryness fraction is 1, so that X, and as we seen earlier, that will be replaced by 1. So the formula for dry steam becomes like sensible heat plus latent heat. So the total content or the total heat content of steam or the total heat needed for a steam conversion is normally the combination of sensible heat and latent heat. For superheated steam, you can see that sensible heat plus latent heat and plus extra heat supplied for the superheating. Cp, specific heat at constant pressure, and the temperature at which the steam is superheated, and the T is the saturation temperature. For water, it is around 100 degrees centigrade at 1 atmospheric pressure. So these are the basic formulas for wet steam, dry steam, and superheated steam. Thank you for watching. And in next class we will discuss about some more important properties of the steam and some important conversion of the formulas. Thank you for watching.